Hi everybody, it's Adam from LUCIDPIXUL, and today I want to talk to you about interviews. It's a fun conversation because this can be one of the most emotionally grueling experiences of your life. Think about it. Think about the whole situation of being in a job interview. You're sitting down with one or several people in a foreign environment, which is usually kind of big and intimidating, the big conference table and the glass walls and swivel chairs and all that kind of stuff, with one or more people trying to create connection with them, and as far as you know, you're there to impress them. Ooh, that's kind of scary, isn't it? So what I want to talk about is some quick tricks you can use, physical, tangible techniques you can use to create a rapport, meaning create a connection with that person quickly in a very short time span. So one of the subjects I want to talk about is body language, the subject of body language, which is a subject I'm totally passionate about. I teach this to my animation students. It's a big part of animation, and it's just a subject in general that I love. I don't know where that D came in, but I digress. Just to give you kind of a layman's, body language for dummies rundown, I want to paint a hypothetical situation for you. Imagine you're sitting at a cafe, a place where two people are sitting face to face, okay? Think of a cafe, bistro, restaurant, something like that, where people are sitting across from each other at a table. And you can imagine it or actually physically do it, imagine being the third-party observer of this conversation between two people. Now, they might be 5 feet in front of you, they might be 30 feet away. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference, okay? Intuitively, as a human species, we're incredibly sensitive and in tune to body language, whether or not we're consciously aware or educated on the subject. We have evolved to be able to pick up on visual cues on other people's thoughts, intentions, feelings, just in the way they communicate with their body. In fact, if you know anything about body language, you'll know that what actually comes out of your mouth only makes up a very small percentage of what you actually mean. The big picture of what a person actually means is conveyed through their body, through nonverbal communication, okay? So that being said, imagine you're sitting there looking at two people, just two people in this particular scenario, and they're talking, me, okay? It doesn't matter, man, woman, man, goat, dog, it doesn't matter. Two living, speaking species that are face-to-face talking to each other. One of the first things to look for is if they're mirroring each other's pose or not. So what I mean by mirroring is, are they both leaning forward? Are they both leaning back? Are they both on one elbow? Are they both touching their chin? Are they both crossing a leg? Are they both swiveling back and forth? Okay? When two people mirror each other's pose, it's generally a way of saying we're on the same wavelength. That's body language, is a way of saying we're riding the same wave, okay? And what people will do, in most cases subconsciously, is mirror each other's poses and actions. So if you're looking at two people sitting together and they're both talking and they're going, yeah, I know, okay? This is a way of saying these are two people that are actually on the same wavelength and agreeing and getting along with each other, okay? They're thinking the same thing. Now, what happens if two people are not? Well, we only have two options, technically speaking, and process of elimination. They will not mirror each other's pose. If you see two people talking, and let's say, again, another hypothetical situation, imagine you and I are having a conversation, and we're getting along, and our body language is all hooked up nice and tight, and then at one point I bring up a subject you're not comfortable with, and I say, you know what, I really think I know you're not comfortable with this, but we should really talk about your mother's foot, right? And you don't want to talk about your mother's foot. It's a nasty foot, okay? It's something you're very shy about. So I'm like, but we really need to talk about it. And I start getting a little bit insistent, and I'm starting to rub the grain a little bit with you. What might happen? Well, I might lean forward because I want to talk about this. I'm taking a little bit more of an aggressive pose with you. And you, who don't want to talk about it, will lean back, okay? So it becomes a bit of a dynamic like this. Dup, 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 okay? Even if they're not arguing, there's discomfort in this person's body language, right? Let's push it a little bit further. Now it's not just a subject you're not comfortable with. Now I'm really starting to push your buttons. Now it's borderline becoming an argument. So I go, hey, listen. And I start to make gestures like this, kind of stabbing, listen to me gestures. Listen, this is important. Your mother's foot is important. And you go, are we gonna stop this conversation or not? What have I done? I physically turned my body away from you. That's a subconscious way of saying, I want out of here. If not saying, I want emotionally out of this conversation, I want physically away from you. This is getting uncomfortable for me. So because I feel cornered, I look for the exit. And that's what turning away means. Okay? Let's get a little bit more elaborate, and let's imagine we're looking at a table with 5 or 6 people all sitting together, a round table with a bunch of people sitting down together. One of the other things you can pay attention to in the context of this particular talk is pay attention to where their body is pointing. Because in the case where there's numerous people talking, different people might be focusing on different people. You might notice this if you ever go for like an after hours beer with your colleagues or something like that, that even though everybody's kind of situated all over this table, there's 20 of you, these 2 people talk to each other, and then they have these crossover conversations, and eventually they move. But at the beginning, it's kind of like people do these crossover conversations. So for me to show that other person I'm interested in them, I will physically direct my body at that person to show that I'm cutting through the crowd and you're the one I'm paying attention to, right? Contrary-wise, my body language can deceive my face. I might, let's say if I'm a cheating boyfriend or something like that, which I would never do because it's very bad, okay? Let's say I'm looking at my girlfriend, I'm going, oh, you're so sweet, oh, you're so sexy, I love that, just, I love you, my little pushy, like this, and I'm looking at her, but my body is pointed towards that cute redhead at the other side of the table. What might that mean? Now, don't freak out on your significant other if you see them doing that. It might not mean that, you know, but what that might mean, just from an observer's point of view, is his eyes are on her, his thoughts are on her, okay? And contrary-wise, if you're sitting at an interview table or something like that, when one person talks, pay attention. If one, you know, like everybody kind of gets their chance to talk, and, you know, Ollie says this, and Chris says that, and Trisha says that, generally speaking, the whole table will turn towards the person who's speaking. But pay attention if there's somebody who doesn't. So like if everybody kind of turns towards, you know, Trisha, who's talking at that particular point, you know, Sandra doesn't. Everybody turns to look at her, but Sandra keeps looking in that direction. That's an act of defiance. That's saying, I don't want to pay attention to you. You know, I don't like the way you talked to me the other day. Okay, there might be a bit of tension between the two. So body language, where a person's attention is directed, is often a very good indicator too. Now, let's put this in the context of an interview. You have 15 minutes, and you're thinking in your head, I have to wow these people in 15 minutes, and I don't know them from a hole in the wall. These are complete strangers to me. You meet them for the first time, you know, Sandra walks up to you, she's the director, and she says, okay, you know, welcome, my name's Sandra, why don't you follow me into the interview room, and you sit down and you start your interview, okay? And in your head, your heart's going like this because you're thinking, okay, I hope I don't fuck this up, I hope I don't fuck this up. Instead of focusing on what to say and how to impress them with your mouth, and instead of focusing on trying to look relaxed, instead of internalizing your emotions, pay attention to what that other person is telling you with their body language, because it's a very good cue on what you should be doing as well. Okay? And this works. This really does work. At least you do this consciously at the beginning, and then it becomes very subconscious after. What does that mean? If Trisha sits down at the table with me and says, all right, Mr. Duff, I'd like to see your work and tell me a little bit about your experience, and they start to ask you all those fucking uncomfortable questions, like, tell me about the 5 things you like and the things you're proud of and the things you're not. Oh, great, that question again, you know? But you got to do it. If she's sitting straight, square shoulders, hands clasped, vertical, eyes on you, unblinking, what's she telling you? Is she telling you I'm superior? Is she telling you I'm the boss? No. What she's telling you is I represent the company, and the company we take ourselves very seriously. We're a no joking company. I'm giving you a serious pose. I expect a serious response. So the wrong thing to do, if Trisha sits down and gives me this power pose and sits down like that and talks to me, the wrong thing to do would be, you know, Mr. Duff, talk about your stuff. And I sit down and go, yeah, well, yeah, I've been working in the industry for 6 years, and I got blah, blah, blah experience, and, you know, I love my dog, you know. And I sit back all relaxed and nonchalant. What I'm thinking in my head is I'm trying to convey an air of I'm relaxed, when in fact what I'm telling her is we're on different wavelengths. She's trying to tell me she's looking for somebody serious, and I'm telling her, fuck what you think. I'm going to act the way I want to act. I'm relaxed. You don't scare me. It's actually more of an act of defiance than connection. So if Trisha sits down with a straight pose with me, I'm going to sit and mirror the same thing. And we go, well, here's my portfolio. And da-da-da. She's going to, he takes himself seriously. And she'll respect that. You're telling her, we think and behave the same way. We can work together, okay? That's very important. Now, the opposite can apply. You can sit down at the interview and Trevor is the director, and Trevor says, hey, Adam, how you doing, man? You want coffee, beer? No? All right, man, we'll sit down. It's cool. All right, have a seat, man. And he sits down and he goes, all right, just tell me what's up. Tell me about your experience. I love your work, man. It's awesome, Throws his hair back like this under his Metallica cap, right? And you're like, and I sit and I go, oh, well, thank you, Trevor. I appreciate the invitation. Well, here's my portfolio. And as you can see here listed is blah, blah, blah. I get all uptight. I do the uptight pose. What is he going to think? Is he going to think, whoa, this guy takes himself seriously, man. Wow. Or is he going to think, dude, man, relax. He represents the company. He's telling you, we're chill here. You can swear as much as you fucking want to. We don't care, man. Look, ripped jeans, man. I've got long hair. I don't give a shit. Relax. Get that broom out of your ass. That's what he's trying to tell me. What I'm responding is, so I don't fit in here. I'm quite uptight, and your relaxed attitude I find a little bit hippie and offensive. That's what I'm telling him with my body language. So if he sits down and goes, tell me what's up, I'm going to go, oh, thanks, man. Well, first off, I appreciate the invitation, and well, you see my work, and and blah, 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 blah. This is why I'm the most wonderful person on earth. And he's go, cool, cool, cool. You're both relaxed. You're both kind of waving back and forth. You both have a leg crossed, You're both on the same page. You can relax with the guys. When you get together for a beer after work, you're going to be a fun person to bring along, right? That's what you're telling them. That's what's important. Now, the second part of just remember that whole aspect of mirroring and what that actually means in a dynamic. And furthermore, if I'm talking to somebody at the table, each one of them might have a different body language, right? One might be uptight, one might be serious, and one might be somewhere down the middle, okay? When I'm talking to somebody, I'm not going to talk to him like that. My body's not going to be pointed this way. If I'm talking to him, even if he's the relaxed guy, I'm going to relax, but I'm going to turn myself towards him and I'm going to talk like this. And as soon as I shift my attention over to this guy, I'm going to sit up straight and mirror him. So remember, it's whoever you're addressing at that particular point in time. This really gives you, this is a very effective way of creating a quick rapport. Now, technique number 2 is how you communicate. One of the very common misconceptions in an interview is you think in your head, it's my turn I got to tell them everything I'm good at in 15 minutes. Got to remember it all, okay? You're putting all the pressure on yourself to communicate, to talk, to fill that awkward gap with the noise of your own voice. And that is unnerving for anybody, okay? That is an uncomfortable situation for anybody to be in. What do you want to know? I took my shower, I had my lunch, and now I'm sitting here, okay, tell you about myself. Well, you want me to reiterate the last 25 years of my life? Jesus. You're focusing on impressing, you're focusing on talking, when in fact, one of the most effective techniques is to focus on listening. Instead of doing the talking, do more asking. And the way to pull this off effectively is, especially, you have an advantage, especially since this is the day of social media. Everybody's business is online, right? YouTube interviews and websites and LinkedIn profiles and Facebook pages, whatever you can get your hands on, okay? What I make a habit of doing before I go for an interview, generally speaking, I have at least a day's advance, if not 3 days or a week or a couple of weeks. I have time to research them. So I take a little bit of time to, first of all, when I talk to the HR person who's giving me the interview date, I ask them right out of the gate, can you tell me who am I going to be sitting down with? Generally speaking, they're going to let you know at least one person you're going to be talking to during that interview. Why that's advantageous is because you can go online and research that person that you're actually going to be physically meeting. You're breaking the ice before you actually meet them. So you're not going, whoa, this guy's got long hair when you meet him. You know he's got long hair. When you see him, if he does it very often when companies are launching new products, the directors and the hiring staff are the people who are going to be the ones who are interviewed. Or they have a LinkedIn profile and they talk about projects they're working on. You can see their profile picture. What kind of a profile picture is it? Is it a picture of them in a forest with long blowing hair? Or is it a picture of them in a suit looking all tough and strong? What are you dealing with, right? You can get an idea. A picture can tell you a lot and a little bit of what they've worked on. Research what they've actually worked on, okay? what that person's actually worked on. If you're lucky enough, and I've had the luck many times, if they have a YouTube video where you actually get to hear them talk, you get an idea of their personality, how they communicate, blah, 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 blah. So when Trevor sits down with you, when you meet Trevor for the first time, he walks out through the glass doors and says, "Hi, I'm Trevor." You already know what he'll say, "Hi, I'm Trevor. It's a pleasure to meet you. I saw you on YouTube." Whoa, you just broke the ice. You know what he does, you know who he is, and you're comfortable with him. Gold star, right? You sit down, formalities, he asks you questions, blah, blah, blah. But you answer those questions, get to the point, you don't need to ramble. Just answer them as you need to answer them, honestly. You don't need to make shit up. But every chance you get, ask them questions. Throw questions at them. Yeah, sorry, I don't mean to go off on a tangent here, but I saw your interview on YouTube when you were doing blah, 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 blah. What was that like? And then when they answer, they're also fueling more questions. Oh, well, I did this and this and this. Oh, so you had a chance to work for this guy. I worked with him. He's awesome. You just made a connection, right? You both know the same guy. That happens. You find that stuff out in the industry because it's a very incestuous industry. Y'all get to know each other, right? You pump more questions. What was it like working with him? You did this, you did that. You interview the interviewer. What you're actually doing is, it's not arrogant on your part at all. If you do it gracefully, right? If you're not forceful about it, is what you're doing is A, you're showing that you have an interest in what they do. Sincerely, because you've looked it up. You know about it. B, you're comfortable with them before they even know who you are. Right? That's important. When you saw Trisha, it didn't freak you out that she had a purple streak in her hair. You saw the purple streak on her profile. So you know that that's what she looks like. You recognize her. That ice has been broken. There's no first times for anything there. You know what she does. You know what she's passionate about. You know how she communicates. You know the product she's working on. And you keep them talking. And what's very often happens in an interview like that is an interview that was supposed to take 20 minutes ends up being an hour and 20 minutes. And at the end of it, as the icing on the cake, after you've done 15% of the talking and most of the listening, you know all about the company, you know all about them, okay? You've created a very solid rapport through your body language and your interest in them. And then at the end, the icing on the cake is, "I really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you." Okay? You're showing them appreciation for the conversation. They're going to reciprocate and say, "Yeah, I really enjoyed that conversation." Everybody's relaxed and there's a nice, comfortable, sincere smile on everybody's face, including yours. And they did all the talking. Tricky, isn't it? But it's true, okay? They want to see that you gel. They want to see that when you work together that you're a good communicator and a good listener, because they're going to be the ones who are going to be delegating work to you, right? If you're in a leadership position, they want to see that you're somebody who can break the ice. You just did all of that, right? Those are some quick tricks on how to take the focus off of yourself and the stress off of yourself during an interview and make it more of a communal communication, and furthermore, create a rapport right away, okay? So hopefully this helps. If you're interested to know a little bit more about how to build a portfolio, you can check the link in the description of the video as well. All right, so happy painting and good luck.